So next, I'd like to introduce someone that most of you in the room, probably all of you in the room already know, someone who's very special and that just lives and breathes Vets Returning Home all day long. So it's a true honor to introduce someone who doesn't just give back, she gives everything. Sandy Bauer, the founder and volunteer director of Vets Returning Home. Before Sandy comes up here, and you can all read in the programs, there's a very nice bio about Sandy, but there's just a few things I'd like to say that some of you may not know. So Sandy's story is one of resilience and relentless generosity. After facing homelessness at just 14 and becoming a single mother at 15, she made a decision that would define her life, not just to succeed, but to lift others up along the way. And Sandy certainly does that every day. She doesn't just talk about it, she acted. In 2013, Sandy invested her own retirement savings, everything she'd worked for her whole life, to open Vets Returning Home. She didn't give what was easy, she gave what mattered most. And that has made such a difference to hundreds of people across our state and the country. Since then, she's continued to pour her time, energy, resources, and all of her heart into this mission every single day. Because of Sandy, thousands of veterans have found shelter, stability, and a path forward, receiving meals, support, and a second chance at life. And I will say, if you ever try to get a hold of Sandy, just know she's out there changing lives or trying to find her phone. But we'll give her that one. But that's who she is, completely selfless, all in, and always putting others first. So please join me in giving a big, heartfelt welcome to my friend and a friend to veterans everywhere, Sandy Bauer.
Okay, I did not have time to prepare much as far as my talking points for tonight. I don't usually write a speech anyway, I just talk from my heart. So I do have a couple of notes here because I want to keep on point and not forget some of the important things that I want to say. But tonight is very important and very special in that first of all, we haven't held a fundraiser since 2019, and we were actually going to hold a fundraiser on March 14th, but then Trump said on March 13th, 2 weeks to slow the spread. So we were actually at the banquet hall setting up the raffle tables and stuff, and we had to shut it down. And then, I tried to reschedule a few times, and, we're in Michigan. Whitmer was like, shut it down again and shut it down again. So anyway, we appreciate you being here tonight. And, these past 5 years, the community has been just amazing in that I don't host fundraisers and I don't ask for money unless we need it. If there's something coming at us that has to be handled, that's when I go out. And when I first started Vets Returning Home, my board members were kind of giving me a hard time. They're saying, Sandy, you should be out there. You should be out there talking to people and networking and shaking hands, and you need to be finding the money. And I said, absolutely not. I said, if we're doing what we're supposed to do, and that's God's work, and we're here helping veterans, the money will find us. And it has. And we've been very blessed. Vets Returning Home is doing fine. As far as our shelter program. We're going to do some video tonight. I've never done this before, so it's It's not going to be smooth, I promise you. And that's part of why I decided to call this a FriendRaiser instead of a fundraiser. It's a FriendRaiser because I know that my friends would give me grace when I, right? Okay, so before we start this, and this is, you're gonna might see it a little awkward in that part of it has no audio. I told them just cut the audio because I want to talk over the video. So feel free to watch the video as I'm speaking, and I'm going to try to explain some of the things in the videos that you see, and some of the importance of what we're doing and will be doing in the near future. And that's where I need help. Okay, so the homeless veterans, we've housed over 2,700 homeless veterans coming up on 13 years. Wow. And yes. Thank you. Thank you. And I would like to say, just a little short, on August 1st of 2013, I purchased an old Red Cross building. It had been sitting empty in foreclosure. I bought it. I went there with my three grandsons, two 10-year-olds and a 12-year-old. And I said, it was on August 3rd, I said, hey, let's go check out the new building Nana just bought. And the kids were having a ball, running around, checking out the elevators, all that. Gentleman walked into my lobby and he said, hey, I heard you're going to be helping veterans. And I asked him if he was homeless. He said he had been sleeping outside on the bench at Checkers fast food for 3 weeks. So I told him, I said, I don't really have much to offer. The utilities are on. You can flush a toilet. You can take a hot shower. I'll give you a sleeping bag. You can roll up on the floor. At least you'll be safe. And I said, but if anybody asks, you have to tell them that you're my night watchman, because I don't have an occupancy permit. So I tell that story for two reasons. That was August 3rd of 2013. My life has been an absolute blur since that day, okay? The veterans just keep coming. And I came into this, kind of cocky and arrogant, I'll show them how it's done. I'm gonna end veteran homelessness, I'll put the model together. Yeah, well, nobody's fixing anything. I mean, the work that we do at Vets Returning Home absolutely required. These veterans would not survive on the street for long, especially in our winters. So, the shelter portion of our program is, I'm not trying to minimize that at all, but what I want to point out is that they just keep coming. Who's fixing it? I feel like it's like the big pharma problem. Let's treat the symptoms, but never offer a cure. Okay, so this past 5 years since the COVID crisis has taken its toll on our veterans, and it's beyond the pale of anything I've seen. And the first 7 years I thought were hard. I have a hard job, let's face it. That first 7 years was a cakewalk to what we're dealing with right now. So I'm going to share with you some of those issues that we're dealing with later in the program. But the second reason that I tell that story is because it's really the perfect example of who I am. I'm the problem solver. And as Danny had said, I was homeless at 14. It was right after the 9th grade. And then I had my son at 15. Obviously, those are some challenges. The challenges that I faced, you probably can't even imagine. But if I had the opportunity to go back and change anything, I don't think I would change much. The good, the bad, the ugly, it made me who I am today. And this is where I'm supposed to be. I feel like I was being, I don't want to say groomed, but that's the word. It's God groomed me for this point in time so that I could handle this mission. And it is becoming bigger than me and my small team. So we're here tonight. It's not about me. We kind of split up some of the Vets Returning Home veterans. Could our Vets Returning Home veterans stand? Guys, Most of them have on their Vets Returning Home shirts. Guys, I just want you to know that you know, we worked our butts off here today, setting this place up and getting it all week, actually. Carrie and Ashley and a few others all month. And this is all about you. The reason that we work so hard and the reason that everyone is here tonight is about you.
That's right.
A lot of these guys, most of them, they come to Vets Returning Home and they don't feel like they've been appreciated for the service that the sacrifice that they've made to our country, you know. So that's why it was important for me to make sure that as many of you guys that could come from the house were here tonight to witness this. I wanted to fill your heart, and I want you to know that you are loved. In my life would not be what it is today if it weren't for the sacrifices that you guys all made, right? And the fact that our government has failed you, it's embarrassing. It's unacceptable. But remember us. Remember your community and what we're willing to do, because we're the ones that owe you, okay? So pay attention tonight. There's one thing that I'm going to kind of bounce around a little bit, but the one thing that we are going to talk about tonight is how we're moving forward, because we've now finally are in a position to actually be able to offer solutions to the big picture, to end this, I don't even know what to call it. I don't know. I personally, I don't want to get political, but I think it's a sabotage of our veteran communities. I think that our government doesn't want them. Annie and I talk about, Annie's going to speak to you later after me. Annie's going to talk to you, but Annie and I talk about this a lot, in that, you know, our veterans, our soldiers are the strength of our country. They're what made America great, right? They're our pride and joy. They're our security. They're our backbone. They're what the world looks at is our military. These are our core. And then they come home, and what happens to them? That's the most frequently asked question. What people ask of me, what happened? What happened to our veterans, and what is happening? And that's what I want to answer for you tonight. I want you to understand the crisis at the core. I've done this for almost 13 years, over 2,700 homeless veterans. I've talked to tens of thousands in the communities, and even all over they call me from all over the country. And, you know, so I mean, I don't mind to sound arrogant or anything, but I'm an expert at what I do now. And when I first started Vets Returning Home, it took me about 2 years. The first 2 years was me studying them. I would ask, in every veteran that comes into Vets Returning Home has to personally interview with me. So I always ask, give me the nickel version. What's the nutshell of what brought you to crisis? What do you think the one biggest thing is? And I don't want to say all of them, but most of them will tell me. The majority are saying, well, I'm a soldier. You know, it's who I am. It's what I live and breathe. And I finished my contract. I came home, and now I'm not. And now I'm nothing. And I say to them, listen, that was a chapter in your book. Okay, your book's not over. Maybe you're not a soldier anymore, but this isn't the end of the book. We have to write the next book. So we just need to find you. We need to help you find your next mission. Now, for the next 10 years, that's what I've been doing one-on-one with these veterans as they come in. I after the interview, as we talk about, you need to find your, I'm going to coin this, Annie's purpose. Right? they lack that purpose that fills their lives. And I can tell you right now, as a homeless teenager with a child, and I'll fast forward to, the mom, if you will. I don't know, sometimes I'm a mom, sometimes I'm the drill sergeant, but, the mom of a house that has 43 beds and 2,700 veterans coming through my doors, we see things, we know things, and we have to take care of these guys, and they know I've earned their trust. They know that sometimes I know when they need a hug, and like a mom, I know when they need a little kick in the butt. But Danny started to share some things with you about who I am, and I think it's important that you all know. And I'm an open book. Actually, if I had time, I would be writing a book, but I don't have time for that. I'm doing important work. But my point is, I think it's important for you to know who I am and why I do what I do and why it makes sense for me as a person, and the better you understand me. And then let's face it, you're here tonight because of the plight of and the crisis of our veterans, and I'm going to be asking for your support. And then when I do that, I want you to know who I am, and I want you to know that I'm a good steward of that support, right? So this is my mission. This is, initially at 14, at 15, when I was homeless, I was a mom, I had this baby. My son is 52 years old now. He's a grown man, as them, they're no longer soldiers. I no longer have babies, So I have another mission now. This is my mission. I will tell you in a nutshell, my life's lessons have brought me to the place where I can confidently say I'm a warrior. I'm fearless. I'm loyal, fiercely loyal, and I never quit. I'm a problem solver first. I know how to solve. You don't come from, ninth grade education, homeless, teenage mom, to retiring at 45 and dedicating your life to charity. I've obviously done well. I own my own business. I have a wonderful staff that has taken over running my business. They've been with me since I started my company in the 90s. And I'm like, you guys got this? Let me go do something more meaningful. I volunteer on average of about 70 hours a week. And my grandchildren are here tonight. They can tell you, they'll tell you. They've said to me, Nana, just shut your phone off for a little bit, because they know I'm tired, or I have tennis elbow and carpal tunnel syndrome or whatever. But they know that the work that we do is important, and if I shut off my phone, somebody could die tonight because they didn't have anybody to talk to, right? So the first 7 years, great. Now we get into these last 5-6 years. They were stuck in shelter for 40 days, lockdown. Then forced vaccinated. I say forced, but they weren't going to get their benefits. They're not going to get medical care. They're not even going to walk in to the VA hospital unless they're vaccinated and double vaccinated and boosted. So they went through all that, okay? And I personally have seen a lot of adverse reactions that and we're dealing with that now, detoxing and things like that. And I don't know if it's going to help, but whatever, we try. With that said, the withdrawal from Afghanistan was horrible, horrible. It was horrible for them. It was horrible for me to even witness the heartache and difficulties that they dealt with. The most appalling part was in the last administration, though. They gave all of the illegals the HUD subsidized housing vouchers that were meant for our homeless veterans. So these guys have been stuck in shelters for 4 years. And those are the lucky ones that got shelter. And my veterans at Vets Returning Home were considered like Club Med in comparison to some of the other government-funded programs. They run their budget on, our tax dollars of $2 and $3 million a year. I run my program on what they pay their director's salary, right? And yet we're the Club Med. Something's wrong, right? Something's wrong. Thank you. Jason, if you could just start rolling some of this footage. So this is obviously the old Red Cross building, Vets Returning Home. It's 11,000 square feet. We have 43 beds. When COVID hit, I actually had, all beds were full, and I had 2 veterans sleeping on cots. They were on deck waiting for beds. That was typical. You had to wait to get into Vets Returning Home. Right now I house about, I don't know, it fluctuates, but maybe 20 at our facility. And the reason, it's not because there aren't any more homeless veterans. It's because the issues that they're dealing with are just beyond the pale of what I can manage at that scale. I've personally had to move on site twice in the past 6 months, just because I was afraid for them. I was afraid somebody would hurt themselves or, hurt each other or something, right? Not on my watch. It's not happening. So, some of you could see on the video that it's busy. There's always, and it's mostly the guys in there that's doing the day-to-day. So they're in there helping. I think it's very important that they stay active. They're not sitting in their room depressed. They have to get up every morning, bed made, room inspection, and morning meeting, Monday through Friday. Weekends, everybody sleeps in. And they're expected to stay busy with their own appointments. We have, help them guide through the process of scheduling these appointments that brought them to issue to help resolve their crisis. And if they're not busy, then they help us. They help us help the rest of the guys in the house, and they help each other. So it's a beautiful thing to see. If you're ever in the area of 11 and Gratiot in Roseville, stop in. You don't need an appointment. You just walk in and let these guys know that we appreciate their service, and they're not forgotten. That would be, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna side. I met with Gene Simmons last week. He bought a place in Royal Oak, and it's called Rock and Brew, and we were on the VIP list. And I'm going to tell you what I said to him. I used to tour with him back, I don't know, when I was a teenager, and he didn't remember me, and I didn't think he would. But I said to him, he wanted to talk about the old days of us touring 50 years ago. And I said, no, I want to talk to you about our veterans. I said, I house homeless veterans. And I brought like 5 or 6 of the veterans with me, and they made me go first. Yeah. So they were standing behind me. And he did this big, pouty lip when I said homeless veterans. And I said to him, I know everybody wants, is asking you to donate $1 million or do a free concert, help whatever charities. And I said, if you really want to make a difference, just get off the freeway next time you're in town coming from the airport and take 10 minutes. Just pop in, say hello to these guys. Because when they went up on stage and got a chance to meet them, these were guys that don't smile. They're not happy, right? But now they're there to meet Gene Simmons, and it was fun. It was good for them. And that's what is, when they realize that people care, and it made a difference. So my goal is to get Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley and Ted Nugent and Kid Rock and Bob Seger. Those are our hometown boys. They should be paying attention to our hometown heroes. And it's not always about money. A lot of it is, but it's not always about money. So with that said, 3 years ago, we opened a thrift store, and it's a mile down the road. Those three grandsons, could you guys stand, please? These are my grandsons. This is Anthony. That's my oldest grandson. And then his brother Darian and their cousin Giovanni. Those were the 3 that were with me that day on August 3rd when I first went to see the building. So they were my first volunteers, right? And so my 3 grandsons, took over running the store, and they literally set that store up, and the store is doing really well now. And it was struggling the first couple years, and then their hard work and good, work ethic came in, and their love of this mission. They've grown up with this, and it means a lot to them. So we were able to write a check from the store to the shelter last year for $100,000. Thank you. This brings us to the mill, okay? In this building, thank you, Lois, and I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek because I wasn't sure, but Lois is the one who kind of brought me to this opportunity for this. It's called The Mill. It's a 182-year-old historical landmark. It's on Van Dyke, which is actually downtown Almont, so it's Main Street. It's on 3.5 acres. The Clinton River runs directly through the middle of the property. It's actually like a creek in that area. The back half is totally undeveloped. No infrastructure, it's all woods. So this is kind of what you can see there. And there's some audio coming up that is that I really want you to hear. I don't know exactly the cues. Grace, don't forget Grace, right? Because I don't know the cues, but pretty shortly.
Yeah, here's the renovation that's been done so far.
Yeah, so you'll see that. Now this is going to be looping all night, so go back. There's another one over there, but you can check it out. The before and the after. We have the Amish out there. They're so cute too. And they do such beautiful work. And they also have helpers, Mike and Pete. And Mike and Pete and Lois, they're kind of my eyes out there. I don't have time to run out there and make sure the contractors are doing everything. But they're doing such a fabulous job. So my grandsons and I, when we looked at that building, and we thought, what are we going to do with it? And we know the potential for this thrift store. We're like, well, maybe we'll open a second thrift store. It's not really the market. It's not the right place for a thrift store, but it's going to be a boutique with antiques and the collectibles and some of the higher end stuff that are donated that don't really fit in a thrift store. So it'll be that. But then it's evolved into so much more. Now it took me a while. I probably go into the building for a couple of months before I walked back to the creek. I hurt my back when I was setting up the thrift store, so I don't walk well. And I went back there one day and sat down on the grass, and I listened to the water run. And when I did that, here, can we just play that? I am sitting on the property at the mill in Almont, Michigan. In the middle of this property is the Clinton River. Now back here, it runs through as a creek. The water flows constantly. It's just so beautiful and peaceful, comforting. It was that moment, this was the second time I went back there. Because the first time I was by myself with no camera, right? But while I was sitting there that first time, I go 70 hours a week, right? And that's just my volunteer work. I still own companies and I still have family and stuff, a life, right? Not much of one, but I have one. So I sat there and I felt myself exhale. Like I remember it. I sat there and I went, oh. I felt it, just the peace, the calming effect that it had. And I knew that this is, man, these veterans would just benefit so much from this atmosphere here, right? And that's when it dawned on me, I'm going to build a retreat back there, So since then, it has absolutely evolved. I say we, I'm going to introduce Annie Lavin. And I will tell you, this is what I am absolutely 100% convinced. This is God-led, okay? I needed answers. I needed solutions to this veteran crisis. I cannot keep watching this and being complicit. I feel like I'm at the point where I'm complicit. If I don't fix something, then I'm complicit in the problem, right? And so I realized after the first couple of years of studying these guys that they're missing their purpose. So I'm trying to counsel them one-on-one, help them find their purpose. And then what does Annie do? She stole a chapter in my book. And she wrote a whole book on purpose. And when I had the opportunity to meet Annie, she knew it the second she heard about me and my work, and I knew it the second I heard about her and her book. So Annie's developed this program, wrote the book, developed the program, and is doing workshops. The intention is to be doing these workshops all over the country. Now we have, together, we'll be synchronizing this to where she can do these workshops specifically just for veteran groups. Right now, she does it for anybody. We all can benefit. We all need purpose. But our veterans desperately need to have purpose. So I think right now I'm going to stop because I've gotten a couple of cues to... We're going to have Annie come up, and I need to sit down anyway. So come on up, Annie.
Very good.
Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. Mostly thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell you more about Sandy's vision. Her vision is about solutions. She's watched, she's hurt, she's felt the pain of our veterans. I'm gonna cry. Okay. I wrote a book called Know Your Purpose, and I did not have any idea the impact it would have for veterans when I wrote it. I was invited to deliver a workshop based on my book to female combat veterans with PTSD, and I was terrified, as much as I knew my program could help anybody. These were, I'm just gonna say it, some badass women. And I was like, okay, here we go. I went there in hopes of changing their lives, and they changed mine. When I understood the crisis, when one of them walked up to me and said, "You have saved my life," that was eye-opening. I didn't get it before then. I didn't understand the crisis. And then I had another soldier walk up to me. And this is part of Sandy's vision. She said, this needs to be the reintegration program for every branch of military. And I went, wow. Again, I still did not know what that meant until I met Sandy. I spent time with Sandy. We were introduced. I flew over here, sat down with her, was blown away by what she does at the center. And she started to tell me her story, her experience. And I got to meet some of the veterans. And my understanding of the crisis started to become clear. And Sandy didn't mention it, but there is a term. And what's interesting about sitting at this table is that people from this table could be talking instead of me, because they are already talking about what Sandy and I are working together to achieve. And it's something we have recognized as discharge free fall. When soldiers are in the military, there is discipline, there's focus, there's structure, there's organization, there's future. They're thriving, right? Day after discharge, what happens?
Lost.
They're lost, right? I've sat with soldiers, we've talked about it, tears in the eyes, and they look at me and they say, that's real. And I went, okay, here we go. This is what we have to take nationwide. So what we do with our program is we help them put their purpose into words first by understanding what discharge free fall is and that it's real, okay? And then we get rid of some confusions about purpose. People are very confused about goals and purpose. We pull that away. And then we Sandy hit on it earlier, help them discover why they're so valuable. They are so valuable to our society. And yet somehow the script has been flipped. When our soldiers come home, they have been trained. What they have experienced, the rest of us have never seen, right? And yet, when they come home, they are not treated with that respect. And so what we do is we get them to find the words to understand that value. And that value is their purpose, right? Who they are, that driving force behind everything they do. The military had a primary purpose. It is what drove them, drove their families, created their future. So what do you replace that with? Their own primary purpose. And so that's what we do. We put it into words, and then we rehabilitate their time in service through the eyes of purpose. And then we take them into application going into the future of how would you apply your primary purpose? How does it change? Because your perspective changes about life when you understand your value. What makes you special, unique, and powerful? You okay, Sandy?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Sandy said most of it. She understands the power of the veteran. And so our goal is to flip the script, is to get our veterans to a place where society views them as valuable as they are. But they first have to understand how valuable they are. They have to be able to see it and understand it. I had one of the girls, when I was doing the first workshop, she said, you know, the whole time you were delivering the workshop, you were saying, you're powerful, you're wonderful, you're great, you know, this, that, and another thing. And she was saying, you know, you can say that all day long, but until I know it, it doesn't matter. But at the end of the workshop, she was one of the ones who came up and said, you saved my life. She said, I hoped and I prayed, because when I got to, it was a retreat, she said, I saw on the program that we were going to talk about purpose. And she said, well, I've had so much therapy, I just thought, well, okay, one more thing we'll do that might work a little bit, right? She said, it works. It's real and it works, right? Workable solutions, right? That's the only thing that matters. So our vision is to turn the script around, enable our veterans to become the leaders in their communities, right? That's where they should be. They're the top 1% of our society. They are the greatest people on earth. They committed to a duty to protect us, and they withstood it, and they endured it, and they came back because they love America. They love you, they love me, and we want them to love themselves, right? So I could probably talk on all night, but I'm gonna give the podium back to Sandy, and thank you. I love you.
I love you too. So I'm gonna stall 5 more minutes. If everyone who's able, I have a horrible back, so I don't know if you wanna get up, but if everybody could get up and come towards the windows, there's a surprise out there. Everybody, come on guys. Can I get Andrew up here? Andrew.
Just kidding.
You're going to walk away from that mic.
I want to see them. Yeah, kind of. Where's Andrew? Come on, we're hungry. Andrew, we're hungry. Let's go. Okay, guys, this is Andrew. Andrew's one of our veterans. He lives at Vets Returning Home. How long have you been there?
A few months, I think.
About 3 months, probably. Great guy. Just a great guy, okay? And he just recently got approved for his disability benefits. And so he's going to be flying the nest of Vets Returning Home very soon, right? Yeah. And kind of wanted to give him a little going away present. So peek out that window, buddy.
Really?
Yeah. So I had him drive it today to pick up one of the Judge Fred Mesters here, and I said, "Hey, pick up the judge. How did it drive? Did you like it?"
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, so that should be a really nice, easy way for you to start, right, on your new journey of purpose, right? So in here, can I share?
Yes, ma'am.
You tell me what you want to do. See what you want to do.
Oh, I'm nervous. Very nervous.
Let me say it. Okay. So he wants to get a service dog, right? And you know how important the dogs are to our veterans, right? So he wants a service dog, and he wants to be able to take it around to like nursing homes and the VA hospitals, those kinds of things. And that will, you know, because we all know it's so much better to give than to receive, right? And that when you will fill his heart and empower him and make him know that, you know, life is good. Life's good.
Yes,
Right,
ma'am.
buddy? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so okay, we have to eat now. We're gonna eat. How do we, I don't know how the banquet hall does this, like, is it table one at a time? I don't know. Table, how about we do this in table one? I'm gonna do it. Table 1, 2, 3, go up there. I don't know.
This camera is saying it's transforming 5 people's faces at once. Wow. And it's pulsing squares all over the face.
It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Judge Mester. Judgy Wedgie, how you been?
Very good, thank you. Very good, thank you.
It's great seeing you out at these events. I've seen Fred out actually at Vets Returning Home quite often. He's been out there having lunch with the guys, and he comes and hangs out. And how you been?
Very good, and to be here with Vets Returning Home and Sandy Bauer and all the great things she has done since starting up this organization, and all the people that work with her in that, and the people that are coming here today and celebrating. It's a pure celebration of America at its best.
Absolutely. Couldn't ask for any more. And hey, that's the faces like Judge Mester's that you'd like to see over and over again. And thanks for coming out, man. It's the friends that make it that.
I didn't know about Vets Returning Home until I got this call, and they said, "Fred, I know you're a vet. There's a Vets Returning Home over in Macomb County. Would you like to come over and visit?" I visited and met Sandy, and immediately the next day I set it up for the president of the Oakland Bar Association and the chairman of the Veterans Committee. And we went over that day. They immediately, I think Sandy adopted them, but they adopted Sandy and Vets Returning Home. And anytime any vet has a legal problem, they're there at no expense. And also, anytime they need any kind of help, they hold fundraisers and things of that nature. It's just a joy. And to see what one American can do, like Sandy Bauer, is quite an expense.
Well, don't sell yourself short. You're the one that made that connection. It's those connections throughout our community that has made us grow. Nobody can do it themselves.
God bless you.
God bless you, Fred, and thank you for all your help and all your service.
Thank you so much.
You know, what we need to do as a community is we need to make sure that that our veterans can participate, and our government's not going to pay for that. So, with that said, I need help. I want to do it. We want to do it fast. So my goal was originally when I started this to have it done by spring. Well, it's spring. You know, I need money, and once I get the funding, then I'm going to need about 4 to 6 weeks to bust it out. And so I'm thinking by August, no later than August, we're going to be having our grand opening. and we're going to get this thing rolling on a bigger scale. Annie's doing the workshops now, but not specifically so much for veterans yet. And she has adjusted her program to do targeting, focusing on just groups of veterans. So that's what I'm really most excited about, and I thank God that we were connected, and she's going to help me, and we're going to help these veterans. So thank you.
Hi there, my name is Amy Claymore. I have been affiliated with Vets Returning Home since 2013, around summertime. We got home from Afghanistan about June, and I had a couple months by myself and realized that was no fun. So I went to Michigan Works, and they gave me Sandy's contact information. They were just opening, they hadn't even opened the door, and they needed a volunteer. My background is logistics, so it kind of fit well. I started working for her, and everything went really well with that. I really, really enjoyed it. I actually didn't have to live at the house. I had my own home, but Sandy's gotten me vehicles over the years. I've gotten really great jobs. One really, really great job, and now I don't have to do that. I can actually just work with Sandy, but they helped me get my disability. They helped vehicles. I've probably gotten 4 vehicles since 2013 from them. Also, they've painted my home. We got Lowe's to donate the paint, and then we got volunteers to come and paint my house. Every time I see Sandy, she's on the phone trying to help another vet. The veterans at the shelter are pretty much always saying good things about how nobody really is there, but Vets Returning Home is always answering the phones and always there to do whatever we can to help out. And I feel so fortunate that I get to be a part of that group. But yeah, I mean, we're very blessed to know Sandy and Vets Returning Home.
Hi, my name is Ken Francis. I was in the United States Army from 2003 to 2009. I was an infantryman. I also did a couple tours in Iraq, 585 days.
My name's Andrew. Don't Google me. I was in the Army from 2002 to 2008. I did 1 tour to Iraq. I think everybody here, it's helped us out a great deal. It gives us some time to figure some things out, make some plans, save some money.
Meet a lot of great people, a lot of military men.
And it's fun to help out because there's a not-for-profit that operates that has helped well over 2,000 vets from what I understand. That's pretty awesome.
It is very awesome.
But yeah, it's fun getting to know new people, new vets come in. Sometimes they stay for a while, sometimes they don't. It just depends on everybody's different situations. And Sandy is super encouraging. At least for me, the first thing, I just made a phone call and I was lucky and I got to speak with Sandy, and she kind of let me know how everything works. And at first, it's kind of nerve-wracking because you're coming in here and you're like, I don't know if this is a hostile place. You don't really know what to expect. And but it's actually a lot like living in the barracks, I guess. Right?
It is, absolutely.
Pretty much. There's accountability, and everybody does chores and helps out. And yeah, it's a really safe, nice, clean place. And
structured.
Yeah, structured. Yeah.
We always know what's going on. A lot of helpful people come in, help with the benefits and things you didn't know you were entitled for. Wow. I went down like a rocky path, but it did lead me to here. You know what I mean? And Sandy did pick me up. I stored Sandy in my phone as like Sandy Angel. She really is, because I was lost at the time. It's like, I do absolutely love this place. It was like some sort of like blessing in disguise. Something led me here
100%.
to this point. And like I said, I have talked to a lot of people who have been through the whole process, going through the VA, and they're basically skyrocketing me forward. So instead of me taking years, not knowing what to do, working at the same time, it's a lot when they want you to go to certain classes or be there at this time. I can just juggle them all here, and
yeah. I mean, I know the Army has to do something with people when you're done with your contract. Like for us, a lot of us got stop lost, and then it was like, you have 90 days of decompressions.
It would have been nice if there was like someone there who could have gave me a little more guidance. You know what I mean? Especially like former servicemen, you know, because when we get to talk, we just, you know, we open up. You know, I let this guy know everything. So I didn't know how many people actually, you know, just donated and contributed, and I'm absolutely amazed and actually proud of that.
There's people that come here and sort through clothes and cook some meals, and we're all very grateful for, you know, all of their help. And it's also fun for us to, you know, volunteer and get stuff done too, because stuff needs to get done, and so it's fun to help. But yeah, we're always looking forward to meeting new people. So if there's vets out there that want to chat with Sandy, and I'm sure she'd love to hear from you. And she's super friendly, but she doesn't put up with your shit. So just remember that. Yeah. Sandy's super cool.
She's amazing.
Yeah.